The Pike County Career and Technology Center provides hands-on, skilled trades training with engaging curriculums and endless possibilities. From automotive technology, carpentry, business management, to culinary arts and interactive media. From electricity, welding, HVAC, engineering, and medical technology to pre-nursing, basic food service, and public safety. We're preparing our youth for America's workforce through today's technology. To learn more about Pike County CTC, visit pikectc.org.
Aric Grooms, little guy from Latham, Ohio, making your way to New York City.
New York City's my home.
And you're doing a lot of other things these days, right?
Yeah, I have been.
Yeah. We've got a film that you're showing that you've produced, and this is the Western Indian says it all right here if you're watching. Van Henry was your coach. Let's go back and talk first about how special this guy was, because it was your first season with him as a head coach. Right?
We were his first team here in Latham, and you have to go back and kind of see things from a 30,000 feet view of how things were when Van came, because we had an amazing coach with Hecky Thompson. The gym's named after him. Right. His family's still here. He's got family members of his that are coaching Western today. So it was so special to our community. He took a team to state. My mom was a cheerleader on the 68 team. My cousin was her first cousin. My second cousin was a player on that team. And it just was amazing. And then my best friend's brother, he was on the 82 team, Hecky's last team, that went to the districts and ended up losing to Southeastern in a very tight game. Some of the best players Western ever had. And then Hecky passed. And then from that we had, I'm not sure exactly as a kid back then what was going on. You can kind of, assume, but the team went from being always competitive, and in my junior year we had somehow spiraled down to we didn't win a game that year, and we didn't expect to win. Even in the baseball season the following year, we didn't go in expecting to win, and it wasn't even the same group of players, but it was just a culture. And so they hired someone from the outside. Van came in, and he just started just changing our culture of what was expected and what mattered. And so that really meant a lot to us back then. So
when you have a transition like that in coaching, it's amazing how much influence new blood has on a bunch of kids, especially if you haven't enjoyed success.
Everything was different. Like when you look at, we had just had it was like it was a habit where we were just going through the motions, and he basically broke. Now Van won 2 state titles with Indian Valley South, and he was in the Final Four a different time. His last game, he said it was his best team, and they lost their last game. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, he came from a different place, and it's a culture shock. It's a culture change, and you have to think differently. You have to look at things differently. You have to give different effort, and that's the thing. Yeah, it really made a difference in our lives because it changed how we saw the world, which led to how we lived our lives after high school.
And we know that this part of the country has been depressed in regards to economics, socioeconomics, and just about every way a disadvantage in some respects. But they're blue collar kids, and this is down home country down here. It's a different breed, really. And it sounds like Van tapped into that and discovered what Hecky Thompson had several years before.
That's the thing. You haven't seen the movie yet, but that's a theme.
Yeah. That
Van told us. He played against the 71 team, I think, that had Gabby on it. I think that's a team he played on. But he said that team, we beat them, but that team had some grit. And he figured if those people's kids were here, which some of them were, then he could turn them into winners. And that's what he told us, that determination, what he saw in us, is one of the reasons why he took this job. He didn't need to do it. He was coaching at Caldwell. He was doing well. I ended up playing college ball up at OCU, and I ended up playing against a guy, a Cincinnati Christian, who played for Van at Caldwell. Oh. And it was weird because, when I started playing, he's like, if you play Cincinnati Christian, go talk to John. He played for me at Caldwell. So he didn't have to come here. He had a different path. This is a very small school, very little upside. It wasn't going to necessarily lead to something bigger, but he believed in the kids here. So that's very true.
And you don't find yourself, like you say, breaking the bank. You're not going to bank a lot of money coaching here in this part of the country.
I don't see how you got
at least
big.
Not above board. But outside of that, the legacy that is left afterwards. I mean, here it is. Gosh, more than 30 years.
Yeah, you're looking 36 years later.
And here it is now, making such an impression that you've put together a film. What was it like to go back and try and tell this story?
It was amazing. The reason we did the sit down with the team, and we had Shane Van's son comes down and he asked us the questions. So it was really neat. He described it. I'm in my fourth quarter in my game against cancer, and I'm down. He said, I'm gonna chuck threes. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna fight hard. And that's how he explained it to his grandkids. I mean, Van saw everything through the lens of basketball. And so we sat down and we talked about what it was like before he got here, what was it like when he was here, what were the different culture shifts that he did to make us different, and then how has it impacted our lives now. And we all sat down and did that because I didn't want to just give him a card that said, hey, I appreciate your influence. I wanted him to hear me. I wanted him to hear Matt Daniels. I want to hear Sean fight, and Gary and Howie and Brian and Brett. I wanted him to hear what we felt about him and how he impacted our life now. And I felt like that would make a difference. So I edited the film so he could see it. And as a filmmaker, I'm not proud of it. It's not good. I borrowed music from Bon Jovi, which I'm not allowed to. So I'm not making any money off that film because I'm using bootleg music. Bon Jovi or BMI is making that money.
Yeah. But
once he passed, I thought that the story went beyond just the people that knew us or knew him. And so I ended up getting a copy of our highlight reel that he did for us. So the movie contains his voice describing our team, the community, each one of us individually. I had a friend of mine, Ruby Garnett, amazing actress. She was in my film God's Will, played my wife. And she's from Adams County. She lives in DC now, works in New York. And so our paths somehow crossed. So I'm like, once I decided, okay, I want to have her narrate this, then I'll be able then to complete the story. And I have a little footage from Van's memorial service, and I have some still pictures that I've accumulated. So I was able to put that all together to tell the story of this community, this culture, and of how important it was, and the impact that one man could have. So that's kind of how it all came about.
I think it's interesting because of the advancements that have been made over the last 30 plus years, with Brock Brewster as the superintendent, the things that this building we're sitting in right now, the foresight, the vision that he has had for leaving a legacy here. The kids that are going to watch this, the people that will be impacted, they'll see some of the roots right
where it
back
started.
here.
We were talking before we sat down how I coached in junior high. After I left, Van had me coach here. Mick Witt was one of my best players. Yeah. His son then comes along, and now he takes the team almost to the state as their point guard. And just to see that continuation and that legacy that all started, who knows what would have happened if it had just kind of fizzled out. But it definitely changed our expectations of what was important and what was expected of us. So yeah.
Prior to this moment, how many eyes have seen the video? Only yours, or have you had some feedback already?
Well, my wife kind of sees everything all the time, because I usually edit in a room that she's coming in and out of. But she's not seen the whole thing all the way through. First of all, I make a lot of projects. I don't put her through that until it's finished.
Right.
But I did share it with the team, my team, with Matt and with Brett and Sean, everybody. And they feel like it tells our story in a way that doesn't just highlight us, but it's a general story. So no, tonight Brock is the only person, Brock and Matt, there'll probably be some other people here that I know from the team, but for all I know for sure that'll be here, Brock and Matt are the only ones. Everyone else is going to be the first time they've laid eyes on it. So
there's missing element here. I don't see any boxes of tissues. I have a feeling there might be a few weepy eyes a little bit.
Yeah, I know Heather, Van's daughter, and is going to be here, and his widow, and I just hope it's a tribute to them, and I hope they really understand how much of an impact it had. Even me, Matt and I talked about this. Matt was the best player on our team by far, and he was the biggest. That helped. But in my senior year, I didn't play that much. he had two freshmen, Howie Woods and Brian Mustard, that were going to, you could tell by the time they were seniors, all legal. So your decision is, do I play Aric, who I can still win 4 or 5 games with, or do I develop these people? So I had to kind of swallow that pride a little bit and know what he was trying to build.
And that's tough for this part of the county.
It's amazingly tough. I've worn this logo on my shirt since I was 5 years old, playing t-ball. And to say, the last time I get a chance to be on this floor, last season, that I've got to help build a program beyond me, was tough. I'm not going to lie. But even while it was happening, I never sat on the bench wishing I was in. Believe it or not, I wanted to be, and I was ready, but I was cheering for my guys. I didn't sulk. I wanted this program to be special and be good. Did you remember when they started doing holiday tournaments in Pike County?
Oh yeah.
We didn't get invited the first one. The first one was Christmas of 1987. They didn't invite us because we didn't win a game. This is the Pike County holiday tournament.
Which there are 4 schools in Pike County.
Right. And because we didn't win a game, they decided to bring Peebles in. We lost to Peebles that year by 3 points. 3 points. Now again, I still have been looking for who made that decision. If they're still here on this earth, I want to know who it is. I got some more. If they're still here, I want to talk to them because I've got a list of people. But that's what this county and this whole community thought about our program. And so I guess it was easy to say, okay, we need to change this program. It isn't about me. And even the ones who played a lot would tell you. Matt would say it wasn't about me.
Yeah.
Now he'd have said that in '86, but in '87, '88, he's like, no, this is about Western. It's about this, and it's about these guys in this room. And it was a special turnaround. Again, we were 4-17. That's why the tagline of this movie is the greatest 4-17 high school basketball team in history. There's nothing special about it unless you knew what happened, unless you understood what we all went through, how we struggled. I mean, I'll let you watch the film because we tell a bunch of stories about how he was with each one of us. Each of us had our story about getting cut or threatened to be cut, getting kicked out of practice, getting kicked out of scrimmages, being set down for an entire half at a game that we were actually competitive in winning.
Yeah.
And it's all this, he was just trying to say what you're doing, even the result, if it was better, if your effort wasn't better, it wasn't acceptable. So yeah, it was, again, not a state championship team, nothing like that. They get celebrated quite often. And really there's no reason to celebrate our team other than the fact that he made that influence on us that impacted our lives. Again, I love where I'm from. I live in Manhattan, and it's fine. And I love what we're doing with the films and the comedy. But man, I'm just a kid from Latham. That's all I am. So I'm glad
Latham
that
is about a corner in Manhattan. So.
Yeah, more people live in my building than in this town.
That's right.
But this is home, and I'm glad that you were able to put more eyes on
Sure thing.
our
Thanks for
community.
coming.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate you.
And thank you for watching as well here on Litter Media.